This week on the Stay Talking Ish podcast show, we have a interview we did actually on our radio show with the daughter of Maggie Bozeman, who was a civil rights worker. She pushed people to use their right to vote, and she actually was jailed for it. So stay tuned, listen to the episode. Hope you like it. Thanks. So we back.
Yeah.
The Stay Talking Ish radio show. So we got a special guest.
Special guest
On
all the way from the real A. Not Atlanta, Alabama.
Hello.
Hello. We're going to let you introduce yourself.
My name is Punta Delesti Bozeman.
Okay.
See, that's why we let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'd have screwed that up.
Well, it's Punta Delesti. It's okay. It's just the letters. They're just going to frighten you a little bit, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there was a very important reason why you contacted us. So, please let us know why.
Well, the important reason I wanted to get to talk to you and to give you for you to give me an opportunity is to discuss an issue and a person.
Okay.
The issue is voting rights.
All right.
The person is my mother, Maggie Bozeman.
Maggie Bozeman.
Maggie Bozeman, yes, that was her name. She has since passed. But my mother was an activist, voting rights, and a civil rights, but mainly voting rights.
Mm-hmm.
She was a school teacher by trade, but her side hustle was getting people registered to vote. But what makes her case and her situation so interesting is the fact that she went to jail.
Mm-hmm.
She and her counterpartner, who I called her Louise or Thelma and Louise or Lucy and Ethel, that's what they were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, ride or die.
Mm-hmm.
And they were convicted. My mother was convicted of 4 years, and Ms. Wilder was convicted of 5 years on 3 counts of voter fraud. 1 count was voting without permission of another person, absentee voting more than once. So went to trial, and they were sent to prison. Now, in the state of Alabama, we only have 1 women's prison. It's called the Julia Tutwiler, and that's where they went. During this time, I was a student at Howard University, so it wasn't as if it happened when I was 6 or 7 years old. So I have vivid memories of exactly what happened. The sheriff at the time came to my mom's school to arrest her. So when I came back home, my mother wasn't there.
So, excuse
which was
me.
Totally unusual.
Sorry to cut you off. They arrested her while she was working at school?
Correct. My mother was a second grade teacher. So, yes. Wow. The sheriff went to the principal's office and asked to speak with my mother. My mother came out, and the sheriff told her, "We are here to arrest you." Wow. And my mother went back to her classroom, told her students, "I'll be back." And, of course, she never returned. So when I got home, I didn't know anything. Maybe about 2 or 3 hours after that, my aunt finally came and said, "Your mother's not coming home tonight." Okay. My mother comes home the next day, and as if nothing happened. But she finally, of course, told me. But yes, she was convicted, arrested, and spent time in our women's state prison here. This occurred between 1979 and 1981. Now, I don't know how old you guys are, but you may have been born by then. But during that time, like I said, I had just begun to become a freshman at Howard University. So during that time, the governor of Alabama, who was Bob James, paroled my mom and Mrs. Wilder. But there was a stipulation. She could not return back to our home county, which is Pickens County. So instead, she was sent to Macon County, where Tuskegee. You've heard of Tuskegee, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So she was sent there under the sheriff, Lucius Amerson, who was the first black sheriff in the United States, elected black sheriff. So she was under his care. So every other weekend, I would literally fly from D.C. to Tuskegee, well, to Montgomery, because Tuskegee doesn't have an airport, to Montgomery, and Sheriff Amerson would pick me up from the airport and take me to my mom, and I'd spend the weekend with her. So I didn't lose contact with her, but during that time, there were marches being organized. It was a lot going on in the country. And one of the reasons, because of my mother's case, that the Voting Rights Act is extended, and that was in 1982. And people don't understand that just because blacks have the right to vote, it's a temporary thing. That's why it goes before Congress every, I think it's 6 years, for renewal, so to speak. So that's why I'm passionate about the importance of voting rights, and especially with the younger generation.
So,
and I'm talking about this millennial I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to take a second, because I was actually reading something about your mother and about a court case.
Thank you.
And it said here that your county was 40% black, but the jury was all white.
Correct. You're absolutely correct, sir. You're absolutely correct. That just goes to show the rural area and how the good old boy system still worked, and it was true.
Now, was your mother able to afford a lawyer, or did she have good representation?
My mother had very good lawyers at the time, but they were all black. So after her conviction, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund took over. They literally took over. They're like, wait a minute. Because at the time, my mother was also president of our local NAACP chapter. She wore many hats. And she contacted, at the time, Benjamin Hooks, who was the executive director. And her case had spread worldwide at this point. And I do mean that literally. And the NAACP Legal Defense Fund came down, and that's how she was able to get her case overturned. My point is, it went as far as to the Alabama Supreme Court.
And I also read that, is it true that I'm sorry, I did read this last night, but the governor actually helped your mom out, and there was a lot of backlash for him doing that?
Yes, that was Governor Bob James. He the one released him. He released him, and it was. My mother was an extremely vocal woman, and I do mean that literally. She had no problems in telling you, what it is. This is how it should be, and she did not have legal background personally, but she knew the law. She knew the law. White people were afraid of her. let me be just as.
Well, that's what happens. They put you up when they're afraid of you. They wind up putting you away somewhere. Correct.
She was a threat. She never ran she never ran for political office. That wasn't her thing. My mother was more of a, let me be in the background, but let me do what I know was right. And that's what she fought for. She fought for right. I have so many stories with her, because it was just she and I growing up. She was a single parent. My parents divorced when I was 10. So it was just my mom and I. I can tell you some stories. We're seeing her in what was called at the time mass meetings. Now, mass meetings were where all the blacks would literally meet about 7 o'clock in these rural churches. I'll be in the back, and my mom would be up front conducting. Okay, this is what I need for you to do, blah, blah, blah. She was that chick. She was that chick. And I'm sitting in the back of the church like, Dad, I don't really want to be here. I'm ready to go home. And not knowing, I'm a kid at that. I'm like 10 or 11. So knew what she was doing, but I didn't realize how much of an impact that her work did for other people until after she passed. I raised my sons and got them out the way, and I said, you know what? People need to know what your grandmother did. They need to know the sacrifices she made.
Yeah.
She also appeared before Congress, 1982 or 3, and pled her case, and what led to the extension of the Voting Rights Act under Reagan administration. So her impact the voting rights is very important. People take it lightly, and I know personally the importance of it. And that's what I want. I just want to spread not only her story, but the emphasis and how important it is to vote. White women got the right to vote before we did.
Yeah.
The women's suffrage, they voted first.
Yep.
It was the white man, the white woman, and then us.
Yeah.
So they knew the importance of it then.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think
they let us know. They let us know at the bottom of the totem pole. Hey, don't y'all think y'all need to learn how to do this thing called voting? You got some power.
Yeah.
So I just have a question. I just want to, if you could tell us how the climate was in Alabama, because a lot of times we think about, racism and civil rights happening in the 60s, but the things with your mother happened in the late 70s. So how was the climate in that area around that time in the late 70s, 80s?
That's a good question. Late 70s, early 80s. Obviously, that was the time of the beginning of hip-hop, the introduction of hip-hop. The music was changing, but the racism in my area was tense.
Mm-hmm.
It was tense. I was a senior in high school in 1981, and I remember my mother would not let me go to school for 2 days.
Wow.
Her case had that much of an impact. There was a march that started from my hometown all the way to D.C. for the extension of the Voting Rights Act because of my mom's case. Joseph Lowry, who was then president of SCLC, Walter Fontroy participated, Merv Dimerly, once we reached D.C. So it made a major impact. And people need to know. I want them to know.
So
did I answer your question?
Yes. So what types of has there been any books written about your mother? Anything?
Unfortunately, no, nothing. Articles. People have written articles, constantly writing articles, and they mentioned my mom's case. Recently, I read online Professor Marsha Darling from New York, I think maybe Adelphi University, and she mentioned my mom's case.
Uh-huh.
Lonnie Guinier, who was on the NAACP Legal Defense Fund during the time, she mentions my mom in her book. So to answer your question, not a personal book yet, and the operative word was yet, has been done personally on my mom, but just, they mention her case and her.
So
that's another personal project, by the way.
Okay.
But I want documentary. I really do. I want it to see it on screen.
And
that's my ultimate goal, to be perfectly honest. Like I said, I'm the only child of my mom and my dad.
Uh-huh.
So I just feel that her story is worth listening.
Yeah, it's definitely a good story for showing people how to fight the system. You know what I'm saying? And not just lay down and take what somebody's doing to you, and definitely fighting for rights. I'm appreciative to hear this story today. Just speak to the testament.
Oh, thank you. Now, are you Guts or you Barksdale? Which one are you?
I'm Barksdale.
Okay, Barksdale. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. I honestly do, because every state is different. And like I said, the state of Alabama recently just passed a 120-year law where blacks can get their rights back to vote if you're a convicted felon. Oh, it took you 120 years to do it. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So that's how far backwards that the South is, and particularly Alabama. I can't speak for Mississippi or Georgia or any other southern state. But Alabama, I know. I know how they think.
Well,
the mentality, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
The mentality is complacency.
Yeah.
Because if grandma didn't vote, so why should I vote? That's the mother. And then you have the daughter.
Yeah.
Well, mama didn't vote, so why should I vote?
Yeah.
So my mother literally tried to get the older generation during that time to understand this is what we need to do. And then when my generation comes along, hey, you make sure you know y'all keep it going, whatever needs to be done.
I think the complacency just come from, you know how it is, like once, and I think it's probably the same for all races, but I guess I kind of just hate it with our race when everybody get just comfortable with that's just the way things are. So F it, I'm gonna just live through it. You know what I'm saying?
Correct. Correct.
Like,
and
no, go ahead.
No, I mean I agree with you 150%. Because the complacency can be our worst enemy. It's not us.
Yeah.
Because you can change your way of thinking. You can change. That's the thing about, you can change the way you don't want something done.
Yeah.
If you see something wrong, correct it.
That's it.
Nip it in the bud immediately and move on.
But I think the biggest thing down there in Alabama is getting everybody else to feel like something wrong with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just me being younger and growing up, you know what I'm saying? My mother and my father in the Nation of Islam, like,
No, I'm Salam Alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Show off, like that. Show off.
And the biggest.
Wondering how a little girl from Alabama know about that, huh? You'll be surprised. Go ahead.
Hanging out in D.C.
That's it. But
You're right.
but I think that like it's like they say, why do we love the devil? Because the devil gives him nothing. You know what I'm saying? And people so used to being down there and the devil giving you nothing, then it's almost like, why fight? Why even go through it? We used to not getting nothing from the system. We not gonna fight to get what's ours from the system. We just gonna deal with it the way it is, and then you pass that way of thinking down from generations to generations, and then nothing changes. And if I'm correct, like Alabama is still like one of those rural states from the South, right? Like do y'all have like major cities in Alabama, like?
Yes, there's Birmingham. Wait a minute. Just because Alabama is, the civil rights state of the country, in my opinion,
it could be some fact to it.
I'm sorry.
I said it could be some fact to it.
We do have major cities such as Birmingham. There's Huntsville. There's Mobile.
So trill.
Barksdale over here acting like y'all ain't got running water.
I mean,
listen,
man.
Like we go outside in the back and use the bathroom. Come on, man. We have it.
You got
we moved up.
You gotta excuse my ignorance, but the only thing I know about Alabama is like Roll Tide and Forrest Gump. You know what I'm saying? That's all I know. Roll Tide and Forrest Gump.
That's right. Roll Tide. That's right. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
But no, there is a lot of good in Alabama. Seriously, they're good people. Southern people have a heart. They have. It's a totally different mentality. It's a totally different lifestyle. It's a totally different lifestyle. But one thing about Southern people, and everything and everybody I know comes from the South. They just migrate.
Understood.
But they have those roots. They have those roots, deep country roots. For instance, my hometown where I grew up, 3 schools. 2 banks, 1 post office, and 2 traffic lights. That's Aliceville, Alabama.
Wow.
That was the 18 years of my life.
So you got to excuse us because, we from the Northeast. We talk about down south, and, down south to us is like North Carolina.
I know. So I know.
And, I mean, to be honest with you, they make movies about Alabama and Mississippi. It looked rough down there. You know what I mean? I know it was like 30, 40 years ago, but some of the movies make it look like we might not make it back.
I mean, I'm making it back. I just want to be clear. Wherever I go, I'm making it back. You know what I'm saying? I don't care.
I know you don't want to be coming down here in these parts here, boy.
You know what I mean? I ain't try to run into them good old boys. You know what I mean?
I ain't worried about them good old boys. I'm getting up out of there. You know what I'm saying? I'm leaving the same way I came there. Or I'm leaving in the body bag, but I'm getting up out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Listen. Don't believe the hype on that. I mean, there are areas, and I'm being honest with you. There are areas and there are parts of the state of Alabama that have that mentality.
Yeah.
They honestly.
Listen,
But
I don't
as a
trust
whole-
nowhere where it's like 90 degrees all year round.
Well, no. Well, see, we have seasons here.
Oh, it be cold down there?
Yeah. Oh, it gets cold. Oh, very much so. It gets very cold.
No, but
Okay.
they
Yes,
got
it does.
them they got them super bugs down there.
Yeah.
They don't got
well.
like regular mosquitoes.
Yeah, y'all got like real grasshoppers, like the big green grasshoppers that look like iguanas.
Actually, our mosquitoes about the size of bats, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm cool.
No, I'm worried about it.
I'm worried about it.
I've been
I'm
down
very
south, and it's scary when like
Let me tell you,
people
our
go in at
mosquitoes-
night.
Let me tell you, off the product off.
Yeah,
Our mosquitoes laugh at that. Oh, you bringing that out? That's all you got?
I believe it.
No, I'm just joking.
She ain't joking.
You're not joking. You know what I'm saying? You survived the trenches down there. I believe you.
Yeah, you know, yeah, but as a whole, Alabama, it has a lot of work to do, politically, and mentally,
Okay.
more than anything.
So
You know,
on,
but it's growing.
on the lighter side of things, so what like what is Alabama known for? Like we hear about I guess
Roll Tide.
Other than the word roll tide, like you got certain places
Forrest
got
Gump.
barbecue and they got all. What's Alabama known for?
David Banner.
No, he's from Mississippi.
Oh, same difference.
see, just 2 steps over. Actually, back in the day, Alabama was known for cotton. Now, let me tell you about that. During the fall, like the latter part of September or October, you can literally see cotton fields. I mean, you can go out there and pick it.
Nope.
No, seriously.
No, seriously, I'm not doing
cotton
that.
is
Seriously, I'm not doing it.
Cotton. I gotta tell you anyway. But yeah, we do have cotton fields. It's industrial. Mercedes is here. Honda. I mean, so all your Mercedes and your Honda cars, they're made here in the state of Alabama.
Of course, the Germans want to be down there where they picking cotton.
So let me ask you a question, and this is very serious. So if cotton picking down there is industrialized, is there white people down there picking cotton?
You don't see nobody out there literally picking. It's not done manually.
Oh, now they got robots?
No, I just wanted to see white people picking cotton.
Poor robots.
I would have came down there for that.
Y'all done traded slave labor for machine labor?
No, yes, it's a tractor that does it.
So I mean, I like
And
food.
and it's very agricultural.
So what kind of food y'all got down there?
Oh, what kind of food? What don't we have?
Do y'all eat broccoli?
Do we eat what?
Broccoli.
Of course.
I mean, I'm just making sure. Like, the South just seem like they just only eat pig.
We
From the
have
rooter to the
broccoli,
tuber.
peas, greens,
Potatoes,
watermelon,
rams, hams,
fried
hogs,
chicken.
dogs. You name it.
You're being real stereotypical. She said we got watermelon fried chicken.
Yeah, we got food, catfish.
All right, so I got one question for you.
Okay.
Do you want all your people rich by summer 17?
I want all my people rich by June 15th.
There we go.
That's like next week.
That's like Wednesday.
How about that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I didn't check my Powerball ticket from last night. I might be rich right now.
Listen, if you get rich, I need parts.
Huh?
Cause
Huh?
listen, 30.
Hey, bro, look.
Yeah.
Hey, if you get rich, hey, look out for a sister here in Alabama.
That's it, man. Check for a brother.
I talked to you one time on the phone. It's 0% chance I'm gonna spread love
Listen,
to
if
you.
I get rich by summer 17, I'm gonna send some money down there. I'm gonna chunk up the deuce for the North and the South.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm
appreciate that.
see.
Don't
you
mind
might-
Gus. He's light skinned and Republican.
So
So
it's that Republican in me.
yeah,
I
he's
can't.
frugal. He goes to Starbucks. He wears chancletas. He's just a different type person.
Oh, okay. But you are a Republican?
Oh yes,
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you a question.
Oh man,
sure.
he doesn't want
No,
everybody
seriously.
rich by summer 17. I just want you to let,
No.
let you know that.
Yeah, okay. Now, let me ask you a question since I know that you're a Republican. And you're you're the second black Republican I know in my life.
We're a special breed.
Special Olympics.
You are. That you are. Now, why are you a black Republican? I just want to know why.
You want to know the truth?
That's it.
The truth. The reason why I'm a black Republican is because I like to be able to move in different circles. And let me start off by saying I'm not a big proponent of either party, to be honest with you. But I picked Republican because I like being able to move in different circles. So if I'm listed as a Republican, I can go hang around my Democrat friends. And black people are black people, so they're going to accept me no matter what. You know how we do.
Correct.
Sometimes for the wrong reasons when we shouldn't accept people. But also, if I'm a Republican, you know, I get to go over there and be the token Negro. And I can hang out with them too. Also,
you're just a black Republican for status, huh?
Yep.
Exactly. And also, if I ever decide to run for office, I don't have to compete with intelligent black Democrats. I can be an ignorant Republican and get lifted to the top because I'm the token black guy.
Yep. By summer 17.
So I could walk in and be like, hey guys, I want to help you out with your diversity problem. Can you give me some money to run for office? And they're going to be like, yes, nigga, we will. If I walk in as a Democrat, they're going to be like, have you ever done this before? What type of qualifications do you have? You know, oh, we need you to start from the bottom like everybody else. See, I can't do all that.
You know why I'm a Democrat?
I think she didn't like the way I explained that.
No, I do. I understand. No, I wanted to know the answer. I wanted to know because that's why I asked. Why are you a black Republican?
But also, I do believe in smaller government. I'm not big on a lot of the social programs. You know, and I like to keep my tax money. I mean, you know, I think the Democratic Party is actually working against people by having all these social programs that keep people at the level they are. It's not really, I don't think a lot of these social programs actually are helping people elevate or move out whatever economic situation they're in. And, you know, that's partially what I agree with. It bothers me to continually see people getting handouts. And I mean, I know some people need help, but it's supposed to be temporary. It's way too many generations living off of government assistance. It's to a point now where government assistance is a way of life when it really shouldn't be. And
okay, please let me interrupt you for 1 second. The government assistance programs were put in place
for them,
and I agree with you, for temporary assistance. But generation-wise, a lot of people, they have abused the system.
Yep.
Now, the government is required to do three things for you. Well, two things. They must provide shelter. That's where the housing authorities come into play. The projects, the whatever you want to define them as. Housing, that's where they come into play. And food stamp programs. They're going to feed you. So those two, the government's going to make sure, okay, I'm going to make sure that people are going to live. But we're going to put them in right here, slap dab in the city. But at least they got a place to stay. Do you understand me?
I mean, a lot of times we say the government, but when you say the government, you're actually talking about people. So
no, when I say the government, I'm actually talking about the housing urban development.
No, I understand, but the tax money comes from somewhere. So, you know, I think about myself. You know, there's a lot more I can do for my children and my family if I could keep a little bit more of my tax money.
Correct.
You know, I do believe in helping others in need. But at the same time, I think a lot of times we forget about the people that aren't in poverty, that are struggling. You know, there's a lot of people working, working check to check or living check to check that get forgotten about. You know, if I get up, you know, I'm not at the point where, you know, I can be like, oh, I don't even care about taxes. You know, I could help out with an extra $100 a week, an extra $200 a week. You know, So it's kind of like I definitely agree with helping people out, but it's like, don't forget about us too. You know what I mean?
I agree. And people do, and like I said, generational, because the great grandma stayed there, and then grandma stayed there, and now the mother's staying there, and so you have 4 or 5 generations under one roof. I've seen it, and it's just a cycle. And a lot of people have been conditioned to remain in that cycle, and it has to take 5 generations in one household. Maybe somebody, hey, I got to get the hell out of here. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. I got to get out of here.
Oh, no, you can be profane here. We encourage it.
All right.
And sometimes it also bothers me is because it seems like we hamper people. It's kind of like we tell people, like, they don't have a choice but to stay in the situation. When a lot of times people do have a choice they can get out of the situation if they really apply themselves. You know?
And that's where motivation and complacency, all that comes in. And that's all that comes within an individuality. That's a whole nother program. That's a whole nother topic.
But
you have to want to do it.
But let's get back to the good food in Alabama and get off of that.
Okay.
But well, we definitely appreciate you calling into the show.
We definitely do.
You know, I think we need to hear more stories about people like your mother, because I think maybe if we do, people wouldn't take a lot of things for granted as far as voting. You know, a lot of times we hear about, people die for your right to vote, but we really don't bump into people that actually have that story.
Yeah.
We're not like, hey, that person right there went to jail. You know what I mean? This ain't no, imaginary person that we just talk about you're never going to see. You know, it's like, this is Miss Bozeman's daughter. She was affected by it.
Yep.
Her mother went to jail. So if you want to see somebody who was affected by it, you can see her and talk to her.
Yeah.
This is not, this is real. And I think a lot of times, like I said, I move in different circles, so I'm around people of different races, and a lot of times we talk about issues.
Yeah.
And they hear about stuff, but they don't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
They think, 1960 was so long ago, and none of this stuff affects people.
But that wasn't that long ago.
And I mean, even with your
wasn't.
story, we're talking about 1980. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's
actually from 79 to my college years, so that's why I have vivid memories. And growing up with my mom, during the summers, I would go with her to, like I said, she was the NAACP president. So I would go to the national convention with her, and her being a teacher, she would go to the national NEA convention annually. So I traveled with her, and I saw her perform. Well, not perform, but, I saw her at work. And then people would come up to her and ask her for advice. My mother, people would literally come to our house who was running for office in the state of Alabama and would come and sit and talk to my mom. Well, Maggie, da-da-da, and I'll be in there listening. A child, I'm not a child, but I'm a teenager. And she'll give me that look like, look, I'm handling business, you need to go in the back. And I did. But I still listened. Mm-hmm. I was at the door, ear pinned, listening. My mother would, let me tell you how devoted she was. Every election day, no matter if it was local or national, she would organize where people would get rides to the polls to vote. She would take off work no matter what it was, and she would cook dinner and breakfast for all of her drivers. Before at 5 o'clock in the morning, you at our house, you eating a full breakfast. I'm talking grits, homemade biscuits, salmon, eggs, the whole 9 before you even get in the car. Mm-hmm. Our house was pretty much headquarters. If you needed a ride, you call our house. And my mother would tell, hey, Mr. Jim, you need to go pick up Miss Ella here and take her to vote. Pick her up, you wait for her, and you come back. Come back to the next one. That's how it was in my household. That's what I grew up around.
I grew up
a one-man army.
I grew up around, my grandmother was from Jacksonville, Florida. I just, I guess it was important for me to vote. And I lost my right to vote when I was 20. I lost my right to vote.
But you can get it back.
Oh, I have it back.
Yay!
Yeah. President Bush, I guess one of the best things he did was make it so that felons could get their right to vote back.
Yep.
And
good.
I got my right.
Good.
I lost my right to vote in like 2000. I got my right to vote back in 2008. Yeah, I voted for Obama.
Cool, bruh. That's all right. That's all right.
Oh, so it was the Republicans that gave you your right to vote back?
Yeah,
okay. I was just checking. Who freed the slaves? Oh, that was Republicans.
I mean, he was all Republicans at the time. Black people was Republicans at the time. And I just remember my grandmother getting up, and even if she worked a full day of work, and she walked with a cane and everything like that, she made it her business to get where the voting polls was at. And even if she didn't know too much about the people that was running, she considered herself a Democrat, and she went inside that voting booth and cast her vote for all the Democrats. And I guess just hope that they won. I think that the biggest thing about voting for our people as a race in general is like who really pays attention to politics. It's such a disenfranchisement amongst our people in regards to public policy, the things the lobbyists that's supporting certain candidates and the candidates that's supporting certain agendas for the people that's putting the money behind their campaign. And I guess I don't know how we would reach our young that's like 15, 16 right now and get them interested in those type of things, so that when they got about 18, maybe even 21, and they paying attention to politics, they understanding who and what they cast and they vote for. Because I think right now everybody just looking at it like, for black people, it's party loyalty out of ignorance. Like, all right, I'm a Democrat. My mother was a Democrat. I'm only voting Democrat because I feel like all my peoples are Democrats, so that's where I'm casting my vote. But I think as a whole, none of us really know who and what we're voting for. And I graduated undergrad from HBCU, but I got my master's and I'm going for my doctorate at a PWI. And
cool, congrats. That's all right.
And when you on those campuses, you notice that the young Caucasian kids have the Young Republicans Club. And they meet up and they're paying attention to the candidates and the agenda that those candidates are running. And of course, if the young Caucasians started a Young Democratic Club, just off the climate of the campus, the young black kids not going to join it.
Yeah,
because they just like, the white people treat us so rudely here, I wouldn't want to be a part of it. But it probably would be to their advantage to join something like that and get an explanation and get some understanding as to who and what you're voting for. So I think. Go ahead. Hello?
Okay, I was listening to you.
I was going to say I think things will change politically for our people when once we get to a point of understanding of really how the system works. And when whoever and whatever we voting for, how does it work? Like, I went to the Million Man March, and everybody talking about rights and how we affect the system in America. But the Honorable Minister Farrakhan stood in front of the people and said, let's boycott Black Friday. Let's boycott Christmas. He said, now I'm not telling you to boycott Jesus. I'm telling you to boycott the system that makes millions of dollars every year off Black Friday and Christmas. And you looked around and you saw a room full of niggas who said, nigga, I ain't boycotting Christmas. I got to get my Christmas. And then right after that, 3 or 4 more black people get killed unjustly by police, and you saying, fuck it, they don't care about us, there's no way to make it change. But if you cripple the system economically, you make things change, or at least you get heard. So
now, the midterm elections are coming up in every state, which is the most critical. It's more important, in my opinion, than the presidential, because these are people coming up now that's working for you, for your state, for your district. you have to be mindful and careful who you are electing.
Yep.
Who these candidates are. And that goes back to your point. You have to be involved. You have to have knowledge. Knowledge is power on every level.
All the time.
Knowledge. I'm not talking about just political knowledge. I'm not speaking of. You have to be knowledgeable and diverse in everything. That's the power. You know who's one of my favorite rap artists of all time?
Nas.
Close.
Okay.
I like Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Kendrick, I'm an old school hip hop, head. But Kendrick Lamar speaks truth about us as blacks. But then he expands his lyrics and talks about humans. Just the humanity, which I think is awesome. If you know what I really would like? I really would like one of these awesome rap artists to do a song, but 16 bars about the importance of voting rights. Because it'll capture the younger generation's attention. I'm waiting for that.
At this point, I think only us younger people, us older people, that range of maybe 18 to about 35, 40, we probably the only people that really listen to Kendrick Lamar. Just speaking about the kids that I work with every day, they ain't listening to no Kendrick Lamar. They're listening to Lil Uzi, Travis Scott,
DJ Luke Nasty. Who else?
The
Migos.
Yeah, but I like Migos.
Chief Keef, Kodak Black.
Yeah.
I know. I got sons. I got sons around.
Yeah, I gotta keep a tunnel vision. Yeah.
I know too.
Yeah.
And if that's who they listen to, that's what they need to rap about. I guarantee you it will capture their attention. Hey, man, y'all hear that new Amigos? They talking about voting.
You know what they would say? And I hate to sound pessimistic. As soon as the Migos start talking about voting, those young guys are going to be like, man, fuck Migos. If I wanted to hear this shit, I'd have stayed in school and not dropped out. I'm going back to the ignorant shit.
Well, on that note, I think we're about to take another music break and play some Migos.
Okay.
I'm happy that you brought a lot of intelligent thought to the program, but that's not what we do. It's just a little too much. So
yeah.
What, intelligence?
Yeah, we don't really do intelligence.
No, we do intelligence during our day job, but
but not on a Friday evening.
Yeah,
My bad.
It's all good.
We have to break it up every once in a while, so we can, like, when we want to give people examples of what positive things we're doing with our radio show.
Yeah,
we'll replay this one.
Yeah,
but like the next 5,
definitely.
we won't be able to show that.
Yeah, like the next 5 episodes has gotta be totally ratchet because we just spent the hour and some change on positivity.
Right. So now the next 2 or 3 hours is just straight ratchet ghetto.
Yeah.
Exactly. So tune in.
So if you can,
I will.
If you can,
I will.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Any last words from you?
Yes. Millennial generation, get out and vote.
Vote.
Encourage one another to vote. And if you're not voting, register. Register. At least get registered. And then just go from there. But at least you are a registered voter. You have an opportunity to become jurors when you're registered. There are a lot of advantages of becoming registered voters. If people such as my mom sacrifice not only her life and her time, her
freedom,
energy, and her freedom. Yeah, she lost. By the way, she did lose her right to vote. She did. She lost it. So just the registration part, that's a start. I very quickly, I have 3 sons. I call them the 3 Stooges. And the second they turned 18, I was like, we getting ready to go register to vote. They were like, Ma, yeah, you getting ready to register to vote.
Oh, yeah, you can't live here if you ain't voting.
And then I started getting their friends. Oh, your friends coming over here playing the PS3 with you. Guess what? They going too.
Yeah, they can't come over here and play PS3 if they ain't registered to vote.
Let me see your voter registration card. Miss Hunter, you want me to see you? Yeah, I want to see it before you even enter.
Yeah, you
can't
come in here if you ain't voting.
Right.
For real, my actually 12th grade teacher, she was a black woman. I actually lived in the suburbs at the time, but she gave the whole class 50% towards their final if they registered to vote.
Wow.
Everybody registered.
I know they did.
I'm like, what?
I'm sure they did.
50% of the final? Look, I'm registered now. Where's the paper?
I'm sure they did. Good lady. So encourage your listeners encourage your listeners. You guys are the mouthpiece. Mm-hmm. Y'all are the mouthpiece, and people listen. I've downloaded a couple of you. I know about the one y'all had about the pleasure box and all that. I've
you be listening? And you still caught up?
I know, right? What was I thinking? But you guys have it. You can encourage people as well. You're in a position where people listen. That's all I want people to do, is just listen to my story and just get my mom's story out there and the importance of what she did.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me say,
I thank you. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, all the way from Alabama.
Mobile, so trill.
Well,
I'm not in Mobile.
Before I let you go, I just want to let you know, like you said, you want to get the story of your mother out. If you ever have, we do have staytalkingish.com. If you ever want to put something up on our blog, you can send me an article. We'll definitely put it up on our website.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And Di's about to take us to a music break. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, bye.